Hello. Hello. This is a video that I am making only to cater to the requirements of a viewer who has raised some doubts in my earlier video on ionic equilibrium. I was so happy to find that at least that guy, maybe the name I don't remember, maybe Ayush Jain or something like that, he follows the video so meticulously that he could point out exactly where I apprehended there will be a point of confusion, a point of misunderstanding. So I'm now going to clarify that in the way of clearing his doubt. I also place the general confusion of particularly this tricky aspect of to find the pH of an amphoteric or amphiprotic salt like sodium bicarbonate, like sodium dihydrogen phosphate, sodium hydrogen phosphate, disodium hydrogen phosphate, and all these type. So let us try to enter deep into the matter. Yes, I did tell you something which would naturally arouse confusion. Now see, supposing we take sodium bicarbonate, where sodium ion is spectator, as you know, it doesn't have any role to play. Bicarbonate ion is the real hero. Now it has two parts because it is amphoteric, amphiprotic. It has two parts, one acid, one base. That you know. The acid part is the second dissociation of carbonic acid, which is of the order of 10 to the power minus 11. And the basic part is due to hydrolysis, right, to give you OH minus ion. Now, when we find the basic dissociation constant or hydrolysis constant, which is Kw by Ka1, this is Ka1, yes, written here, Ka1, then that is coming in the order of 10 to the power minus 8. So, almost this is 500 times greater. This basic dissociation is almost 500 times greater than the acid dissociation. Yes, you are true, Mr. Zain. Therefore, we are inclined to believe that the solution is basic. In fact, it is basic. Sodium bicarbonate, if you use a pH meter or a pH paper or pH meter to get the pH accurately, you will get around 8.3. That has been verified. And it is independent of concentrations, if the concentrations are moderate. Now, how this has happened? Now, if you compare that this is really this hydrogen ion concentration as well as carbonate ion concentration are 500 times smaller than carbonic acid and OH minus respectively, then you cannot have that approximation. What happens here is the trick that we apply here to get the solution quickly, easily, the trick that we use here, I told you that in ionic equilibrium, we have to make many intelligent approximations. By that, we arrive at the result quickly without sacrificing the veracity, the authenticity, or the accuracy of the result. Because we neglect something which will not count or will not affect the result in any detectable way. And if you do not approximate, then you will be put in a mess, mathematical mess. Maybe you will be required to solve a cubic equation, a fourth degree equation, which is an impossible task by a student. I mean, which is unnecessary also. So here what we approximate is what we use is the charge balance concept. What is the charge balance concept? Basically, let me read out. I have written for you. Let me read out the second page, then I will explain to you. Well, this we have already done in my earlier video. If you are finding the video or watching the video for the first time, then I will definitely suggest you to watch my earlier video on pH of amphiprotic salt. This is a rejoinder in addition to the earlier video, but nevertheless I will discuss everything. Now, why do we approximate this carbonate ion concentration roughly equal to carbonic acid concentration? Carbonate ion is produced in the acid dissociation, and carbonic acid is produced in the basic dissociation, right? We approximate these two to be nearly equal, and they cancel out, as you know. But you are wondering, if we are approximating these to be equal, then why not these to be equal? And then the solution will be exactly neutral. And we can think that this and this will be nearly 500 times, lesser, smaller than this and this. How can we equalize these two? Now, the logic is this. See. And that other part we know, will be coming back to this again. Now, the logic of approximations I have written here, there must be a gross charge balance in the solution, because the solution is neutral. We're taking sodium bicarbonate. Solution is neutral. There must be a gross charge balance in the solution. The total positive charge would be equal to total negative charge, as the solution is neutral. For the disappearance of two bicarbonate ions, one carbonate ion should be formed so that the total positive charge would be equal to total negative charge. Now see, here there is one bicarbonate ion disappearing, for example, one, and here one disappearing. So this is neutral, but this is carbonate having 2 minus. So this total is 2 minus, this one is 2 minus. Forget about H plus and OH minus just for a moment. So that Na plus concentration, that will not change, that is spectator. The Na plus concentration will be equal to the negative total, the remaining bicarbonate and the carbonate, so that there will be a gross charge balance. But whatever H plus and OH minus will be formed, they will be almost reacting with each other, because the formation constant of water is very high, of the order of 10 to the power plus 14. I am talking of formation constant, the opposite of dissociation constant, right? So all H plus ion, OH minus ion will disappear as water, and there will be some excess OH minus. This will be in terms of, supposing you take 0.1 mole, out of that, say a small fraction of that goes into dissociation, because the constant values are very, very low, and out of that almost all H plus and OH minus, they disappear, forming water, and some excess remains, excess of OH minus. That doesn't mean that H plus ion is totally zero, because Kw has to be maintained. There must be some residual H plus ion, but there will be little excess of OH minus ion. But most H plus and OH minus which would be produced by the two will disappear as water, and there will be some excess of OH minus over H plus ion that will render the solution alkaline. So what happens here? Now this is sodium bicarbonate is a one salt. It will undergo, when you dissolve it, the equilibrium will be established. In a manner, we are now explaining, trying to understand what would have happened in a stepwise manner. But at equilibrium, when everything is settled, then these two concentrations are nearly same. Why? Because there will be a readjustment in these two concentrations. The charge balance is very important. The gross neutralization, the salt is neutral. Therefore, there will be a readjustment of these two concentrations. There will be decrease in this, increase in this, so that these two are equalized, but this remains excess. But H plus and OH minus, grossly they go away, so the charge grossly is removed. But whatever little, that excess OH minus ion over H plus, that is neglected. Well, yes, if you say that will make the solution charged, yes, I do not, I concede. But that is the approximation we have to make, because that little excess in the face of, the number of moles produced, these ions and, carbonic acid and carbonate ion, these are in terms of moles, 0.001, 0.00. But these 0.001, 0.001, they get completely eliminated as water, and some remaining 10 to the power minus 6 concentration of OH minus remains in excess in the face of 10 to the power minus 8 for example H plus. Therefore, the little excess of OH minus negative charge, that is negligible compared to the the bulk of the charge which is from the ions. These carbonate ion, this bicarbonate ion, sodium ion, these are the bulk of the ions, But H plus and OH minus, they are ions, no doubt, but they react. So whatever little minuscule quantity of, in the order of 10 to the power minus 8 or minus 6, that excess will not upset the charge balance. So what you were apprehending, that how can this, on one hand, this is 500 times greater, and this is becoming equal, but this is 500 times greater, then what is the fun of these two constants? Yes, these two constants cannot be challenged. They will remain as such, but there will be a, when these two in the KB expression, this into this by this. So if they will readjust, this will become less to equalize with this, and this will become more, so the product remains the same. And these two get reacted almost completely. And little excess that doesn't upset the charge balance. That's what I have told you here. Here, for a disappearance of two bicarbonate ions, one carbonate should be formed so that there is a net charge balance. Na plus is merely a spectator. Hence, equilibrium concentrations of RHS species in equilibrium 2, here, in equilibrium 2, this is equilibrium 2, have to be readjusted. Are readjusted so as to approximately equalize carbonic acid concentration with carbonate ion concentration, and for that to happen, OH minus ion concentration would increase, right? But the reaction between H plus ion in equilibrium 1, that is acid dissociation, and OH minus in equilibrium 2, that is basic dissociation, takes place completely to remove most charge with some negligible excess of negative charge. this excess has been assumed to be negligible. And interestingly, not all H plus ion can vanish, because H plus and OH minus every time have to be equal to 10 to the power minus 14. So that's why this intelligent approximation, no doubt it is tricky, and in earlier video I did skip that, and I really congratulate you to have pointed out this, and I have made this video almost for you, but others can benefit. Now this approximation is valid when salt concentration is not small, it is larger than at least Ka1. Carbonic acid is so weak that Ka1 also, it's not like sulfuric acid. This cannot be valid for sodium bisulfate, where Ka1 of sulfuric acid is of the order of 10 to the power 3. So it is only valid for sodium bicarbonate, sodium hydrogen sulfide, like that. Sodium phosphate, sodium dihydrogen phosphate, or sodium disodium hydrogen phosphate, like weak acids where Ka1 is very, very less. And salt concentration is moderate, like 0.1, 0.01, 0.001, which is much greater than 10 to the power minus 11. K1 is 10 to the minus 7. Yes, sorry, 10 to the minus 7. So any concentration, which is greater than K1, should be much greater than K1, then this approximation will be valid. You might be asking why, because that why will be found in this actual calculation. I wanted to give you the actual mass balance, charge balance concept to make you more clear why this approximation is valid. I didn't give this mass balance, charge balance concept in every this thing. I had a mind. I think I did tell you that I have a mind to give in all equilibria phenomena, starting from Popper solution, from this the pH of weak acids, pH of salts. I would like to give you the exact happenings and where do we approximate, so that we will arrive at the same conclusion that we have done in our earlier videos. Now, to make you more convinced, so let me tell you that this is the first dissociation. I'm sorry, this is the acid dissociation of the acid, and this is the basic dissociation which we have written that, and this is just simply K1 and Ka2 expression. H2A, I have taken a general weak acid H2A. A can be carbonic acid or H2S, whatever, weak. So K1 and this is K2 expression. This is this first dissociation and this is the second dissociation, right? And this is, say, equation 1 and equation 2. These are the real happenings of our salt. Salt is amphiprotic and it has two dissociations, and the mass balance is this CHA minus is the original salt concentration, and whatever little is going in both, that will, the total concentration of initial salt will be equal to the remaining HA minus, this is the equilibrium concentration of the salt, the HA minus, the salt, plus the A2 minus ion formed in this, plus the H2A formed in this. So these three should be equal to the original salt concentration. This is mass balance. And we are here not doing charge balance because charge is already balanced. We are not offsetting the charge in this concept. Now, supposing H plus and OH minus ion will definitely react with each other. They will not remain as such. They will react to form water, because the formation constant of water is of the order of 10 to the power plus 14. So, supposing the excess H plus ion, because we will find pH, that is why I have taken H plus ion excess, but actually OH minus will remain in excess. would have also got the same conclusion had we taken OH minus ion in excess, right? Just this is a theoretical thing, but actually OH minus ion will remain in excess. But theoretical calculation, supposing H plus ion will remain in excess. So this excess H plus ion will be equal to the whatever in the second expression, whatever, now because this is greater, we have already calculated this is greater than this. So therefore, whatever H2A will be, but we are assuming that this is greater. Just for our convenience, we are assuming that this is greater than this. So whatever A2 minus is there, minus H2A, because A2A will be excess, H2A will be less. We are presuming that this dissociation is more than this dissociation, right? So this H plus ion, which will be excess after reaction, will be A2 minus, which will be there in the solution, minus H2A, right? So there we are not upsetting the charge balance. Absolutely, whatever OH minus H plus ion will remain in excess, same excess of A2 minus will be there. So there will be a charge balance. So this is the fourth equation. The H plus ion excess, please don't mind, I am taking H plus ion excess, actually OH minus ion will remain in excess. Don't worry, you will get pH more than 7. So it will be automatically, it will be proving that OH minus is remaining in excess. So from equation 1, this one Ka1, and equation 2 Ka2, and equation 4, this one, right? We get H plus ion is equal to A2 minus I am getting from here, this into this by this, and H2A I am getting from here, this into this by Ka1, right? So just substituting their values and little rearrangement. I am not showing you the rearrangement you can do. I have not neglected anything. Just on rearrangement I find H plus square is equal to K1 into K2 of that acid into HA minus, that is the equilibrium concentration of the salt, by HA minus plus Ka1. And from equation 3 here, the mass balance, these two are so small because the values, the two values we have already done. This is of the order of 10 to the minus 11, this is 10 to the minus 8. They are small that in the face of this 0.1, 0.2, something like that, these are so small, we can confidently approximate the initial concentration of salt is same as the equilibrium concentration of the salt, that is HA minus. So we neglect this and make a approximation. This is case 1. If you approximate the initial salt concentration as HA minus, the equilibrium concentration, as both the equilibrium constants are too small, so in that case, this H plus, I'm just writing in place of HA minus, I'm writing CHA minus. That's it. No change. No cancellation. Nothing. So in place of these two, I write CHA minus, okay? And now we make an approximation that if the salt concentration will be much greater than K1, which is the case with sodium bicarbonate. Carbonic acid K1 is 10 to the power minus 7 in the order of, I think I did show you that. Yes, 10 to the power, minus 7. So it's not the case with sodium bisulfate, no. The first dissociation has to be completely, eliminated. The basic dissociation has to be completely eliminated there. So it's not applicable for sodium bisulfate type of, where Ka1 is much greater, right? So here, if the salt concentration is much greater than K1, then this K1 can be neglected in the face of CHA. So if you neglect this in the denominator, the CHA minus get cancelled, and you are left with K1 into K2 root over. That means pH is equal to pK1 plus pK2 by 2. So it is independent of concentration. Right? So if you have 0.1 or 0.01, whatever you do, but this is 10 to the minus 7. So in any case, it has no value at all. And this have to cancel. That is why it is independent of concentration. That doesn't mean that if it is K1 is large, supposing K1 is 10 to the minus 2, and you are taking salt concentration 0.02, like that in the same order. In that case, you have to use this expression to get pH, and in that case, it is dependent on the concentration of the salt. But as long as it is a weak acid and K1 is very, very small, and you are taking moderate concentrations 0.1, 0.2, 0.01, 0.001 up to 0.001, 0.002, 0.0001. So up till it is much greater than this, where you think that this is can be neglected, where you find the pH is independent of concentration. And in fact, I'm very sorry to tell you that even in some texts, in some credible sources, internet sources, credible universities, credible professors, they have, in case of say hydrogen phosphate, we have made this the same manner. The logic is same. We have made the average of the two K values. For dihydrogen phosphate, K1 and Ka2 average, and that is pK1, pK2, and for HPO42 minus pK2, pK3 average. We have done that, and we have got the pH of hydrogen phosphate 2 minus is 9.77. But those, I'm referring to some of the texts in the credible sources. They have neglected the one dissociation completely. One dissociation, if you neglect, I was doing that, if you neglect this one, because this is greater 10 to the minus 8 and this is smaller, so we completely neglect and find the pH just like your salt. First find out this KH, then OH minus N concentration is equal to KH into C. Take the concentration into account, KH into C root over, and then find POH and then pH. And I did that. I got it 9 point something, yes, 9.67. Can you imagine? But actually, if you take the pH meter, it will sodium bicarbonate moderate concentration, you will get 8.3 in an experiment. How to explain? Because this H plus ion, these two are not widely different, only 500 times. So H plus ion, OH minus ion, they will try to kill each other to produce water, and some excess OH minus will remain. So the influence of the acid dissociation cannot be ignored. It has to be taken jointly into account with some intelligent trick. This trick is applicable only when you are, not using the final this expression. You cannot remember this one for your examination. You have to use some intelligent tricks. So that I have done it, but I was forced, of course, gladly to tell you the actual derivation and where we approximated and why did we approximate when this salt concentration is much larger than K1. Then K1 is neglected, this cancels, right? And in fact, the same author, you will I will not like to name that source. You will Google search, you will find this hydrogen phosphate. They have completely ignored the acid dissociation. You understand this giving you H plus and PO4 3 minus, Ka3 completely ignored and only taken the basic dissociation, that means this with water giving you H2PO4 minus plus OH minus, that is Kw by Ka2, that they have taken into account and found the pH to be 10 point, nearly 3 or 4, 10.4. But if actually, I have not measured, if actually the pH of hydrogen phosphate 2 minus is less than 10 and you are saying more than 10, then definitely there will be a gross error. I strongly guess that it will be less than 10. And therefore, this has to be adopted. That means while you do so, you are taking both the basic and acid dissociations into account. Right? I think that will suffice, and you let me know if you have understood. Definitely you you have rightly thought that while OH minus is remaining in excess than H plus, why then these two are equalized? It is to make gross charge balance. There is a readjustment between OH minus and carbonic acid. So carbonic acid is nearly equalized with carbonate ion, and but OH minus is becoming more, but ultimately they are being all wiped out, and the net gross charge balance is made. Right? So with this I conclude this session. Thank you. Thank you so much. Keep on giving your valuable comments so that I can prepare more and more videos for you and for others also. Bye.